Oh, and welcome to another episode of mine. In today's episode, I'm going to be going through what a lot of people have actually asked me to talk about, both in terms of the comment section and also in terms of private messaging. I get this question a lot. Sean, can you talk about auctions? Yes, yes, I can. That's not a problem. I don't want to talk about the sell side. I think the sell side, I don't really have enough knowledge of it, and also I'm very critical of selling to auction for various reasons. It doesn't mean they're all bad. I just feel that as a whole, it's not in your best interest for the vast majority of coins. But I do want to talk about the buy side. Now, the question that keeps coming up is it worth buying at auction? And more specifically, is it worth it as a non professional to buy at auction? And the answer is yes, I think it is. Yes and no, if you know your limitations. There's certain reasons why I would say no, but as a whole, there's nothing extra that I get being a professional, being in the trade, to, over an individual. If anything, I find buying at auction is the great equalizer. So, if there was someone who wanted to sell a collection, are they more likely to sell to an individual who wants cheaper coins? Or are they more likely to sell to someone like me who's been in trade for years and does it for a small fee? Realistically, they're going to come to me. Probably 99% of the time, they're going to come to me because I can pay them no qualms, no issues, and no problems. And if there is a problem, it will get rectified. That's not a problem. If you meet someone off the streets and they pay you cash, well, they might rob you. Like there's lots of risks that you assume selling to an individual. So the cheaper bits are kind of off the table when buying peer to peer. Now you'll get a fair rate peer to peer, but the bargain bits, you're not going to find them. Now I've said in the past that there's a few coins and they're hard to find. I might make £400-500 on a coin or a set, and these are not coming from individuals. I don't deal with individuals in that way. I don't deal with my professional supply line in that way. Typically we haggle a price, and it's bread and butter stuff. Stuff will come in and stuff will go out. Now I'm not going to lie and say I don't expect to make more on certain bits. So for example, if I've got something that will be in for say 6 months, I want more bang for my buck in terms of the profit. And if it comes in earlier, then fantastic. But usually they're slow burner stock, and that's okay. But in terms of auction, you can really find some gems in the rough if you do your homework. There are plenty of coins that have got slept on, and there's plenty of occasions where you can find something and make 300, 400, 500 pounds on a relatively low value coin. Is that right or wrong? That's not for me to decide. I pay my taxes. I'm not doing anyone over. Unfortunately, they've taken it to the wrong auction. But what I'm saying is, if I can do it, you can do it because you don't have an advantage over me, and I don't have an advantage over you in terms of an auction place. We both get a paddle and we both go head to head. Now, where I would put people off from going to auction, if you're of the disposition where you like a good flutter, but you get a proper kick out of having a flutter, I'm not saying problem gambler, but you get a high out of it, an auction house is probably not for you, because you're going to have situations where you're frustrated, and it happens to me, and you're like, I just want that item, and you need to be clinical. You need to say, no, another coin is around the corner. I'm not doing it. The only problem for the individual is if you're buying, you will not have the bankroll that I have. Now, there was an auction recently that I won my dream coin. That will be coming, I'm hoping, this week. We shall see. I've yet to receive confirmation for it. Now, I bought that coin probably £1,000 cheaper than I should have done. I'm not selling it, but I bought it. I bought it cheap. Now, I know of another dealer, because I sent him and I was like, what do you think of this? And he's like, you got it. Because he was bidding. And he said, I put bids on everything. And he must have had hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of bids down. That's what you're competing against. So, but a dealer will back off after a certain price, because a dealer knows if they put say £100,000 worth of bids in, there's going to be some coins that go in bargain territory, and it pays for the order. Now I'm going to break down what I mean by that. So there's different types of buyers at auctions in terms of professional. So you've got the dealers who they're not interested in buying anything really. They don't really have much knowledge. They're buying because it's cheap. They are buying purely under the melt price to melt it. I know dealers who do this. I don't personally do this, but I know dealers who do this. They will say, I'm benchmarking it at 10% under. This is a very risky approach. And for me, I'd rather put some food on the plate than no food on the plate. And if you're going to have more auctions where you don't win anything if you go with this strategy alone. So it will come in, they'll get it 10% under melt, it will go to the melting pot. You get 20 grand worth of gold at that and you make 5% on it, that's £1,000 payday. But you need money, and most people don't have 20k worth of money. So it's not a viable solution for the individual. You've also got the people at the other end of the extreme where they're buying numismatic coins and they've turned up in some obscure auction in the middle of nowhere. This has happened plenty of times where they buy it and they're like, oh, it's worth £1,000. I paid £200 for it, £300 for it, and no one's clocked it. Just no one has clocked it. I remember buying a $3 Indian princess at auction. I think it was like 400, $400. I doubled my money. All I did was I proved it up. I bought a platinum set. I think I made £500-600 on that platinum set. It was a platinum maple set. Broke it down. I did wonderfully well. No, it wasn't. It was a golden platinum maple set, and it had a silver ounce as well, because it was shaped like this with the silver in the bottom. I made a lot of money on that set. I did it incredibly well. This does happen. So you got the mount side, and then you've got the numismatic side. And then you've got the side, you got the middle bit, which is me. So I'm going in and I'm like, if I get it under spot, fantastic. But I'm happy to pay what the spread is. You need more information if you're doing it on the fine margins like myself. You need to know what things sell for. You need to know your mintages. You need to put a lot of legwork into it if you're not well versed in coins. For me, because I've been doing this so long, I can look at a coin like, it's worth that, I'm bidding that. That's not a problem. And 9 times out of 10, I'm going to have auto bids on. I'll put auto bids on for 50, 60, 70,000 pounds worth of coins. I've only got a 20k bankroll, but I do something called bid scrubbing. So win, lose, and I'll have it, and I'll constantly be rejigging the numbers and calculating how much bank I've got left. And I know in my mind, I know how much I've got in stock that's liquid. So if I'm over by 5k, I'm like, not a problem, because by the time I pay the bill, I can sell that 5k. It's always a case of cash flow. Sorry. What you need to understand, this is where a lot of people fail, and it's not just in the coin world. This is also in just the business world. It's a cash flow problem. If you're buying and you spend your whole bankroll, and the stock doesn't come in for 10 days, and you've got no stock to sell, you've essentially got a third of the month where you're not making money. So does buying from auction cover that? There's a lot of people get short on that in normal businesses where they've paid out their wages and they can't afford to. They've got to sell stuff to buy more stuff, and it's nuts. It's a crazy way to run a business. I don't personally have that problem, but as an individual, you might have that problem. So going back to the middle of the market, you've got to have a lot of knowledge as a generalist. You've got to understand the moving price points of spot. You've got to understand what is collectible, what moves, what doesn't move. And you've got to understand, you've got to play the auctioneer as well. So some auctions are generalists like myself. Some auctions are specialists. Personally, I think you have better luck in the auctioneers that are generalist coin auctions rather than generalist auctions. The specialist coin auctions, I think that coin, you can get bargains, but I think there's less bargains to be had. So I've bought in the past from specialist coin auctions, and I've often struggled. I've walked away with a bit of money, but I find with generalists, because you're dealing with generalist people, you're getting coins from all sorts of, like bullion, semi-numi, numi, and there's more opportunities to pick it up because they might have 600-700 coins. They might not even list it properly. I've had coins like the coin I won the other day, the 1918 Indian. I bought that under melt when I considered silver coins, and then it's an Indian coin, so I've made even more money. I think I made about £100 on a 480 outlay, 20% pretty much. You can do that as an individual. All you have to do is do your homework. So yeah, to sum it up, yes, you can make money. you can make good money at an auction if you have A, the knowledge, and B, the bankroll, and you're willing to do the work. And it is work, but also you need discipline. And if you can't be disciplined, then I wouldn't bother with auctions because you will lose your shirt. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.